Welcome to the Behind the Drapes podcast. I'm your host, Expo Rich. We're recording here from the SISO CEO Summit. And my guest today is Comboni. She is the CEO of Clarion Connect. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks, Rich, for having me.
I've been trying to get you on for a while now, so I'm glad we're finally able to align this. And we started this podcast to kind of talk about the people that are doing the things and building the marketplaces. And one of the things that you've been a part of and doing so well in your career with is the B2C, bringing the people together and those fan experiences and really those high energy events. Yeah. And, before we get into what's going on now, how did you get into that space? How did you fall into the biz for one, and in that space in particular?
Yeah, probably like almost everybody, at least of my age group that you interview, probably totally by accident, right? Like there was no awareness of this as a career for me at all. I had a degree in psychology, and I leveraged that and spun that into marketing right out of school in the book publishing world.
Okay.
And with that, I was an exhibitor at Book Expo. So I was working for a company called Rodale Press, the publisher of Men's Health magazine and things like that at the time, their book trade division. And we were given a couple titles to market that were high potential. Took them to Book Expo and a couple other places and got those books up into the bestseller list. So I got a lot of experience launching ebooks with that, direct to consumer marketing. So it was a little kind of like a different twist. And I continued on within the book publishing world for a little bit in the book manufacturing side, and then was an exhibitor at a show called Book Tech that used to be in New York way back when, and started like understanding that world just a little bit. And at one point there was an opening for a group for Read Expo. At the time was the owner of Book Expo, which no longer exists. May it rest in peace. It was a great show. And it was for a Launchpad group. And it happened to be a new group started by Greg Topalian for Read. And this was like over 20 years ago. And he was looking for somebody with some different background, somebody who's done things differently, maybe had some consumer experience, wasn't necessarily a trade show person. Right. And we just hit it off. And together at the Launchpad team, we launched some things that didn't work. And we launched some things that worked really, really well. And one of those was New York Comic Con. And we stumbled on that from a conversation actually Greg had with a couple publishers and just listening from Book Expo. And really just listening to the customer. It wasn't like we knew this was a great idea. Yeah. It was a customer, asking the right questions and saying, well, I see this trend in the market that there's this great show in San Diego, but there's nothing in New York. And like, what could there be? How do we make that happen? And, one of the great lessons that I learned from Greg early on in my career was like that ability to listen to a customer and hear the ideas that come from them. And that just kind of springboarded my whole career into the trade show world.
And what's also a good, what you were bringing to it was you were that customer, you were that exhibitor. So you wore that hat already and you were on that side of it.
Yeah.
And so you come in with that different lens.
Yeah. And this was a long time ago. But since then, the last 20 plus years, my career has just evolved through the trade show business, through the consumer side. And then Greg and I launched together Left Field Media 11 years ago now, and became part of Clarion. And there, in that time, I had some B2B experience as well with some B2B shows. And then to where I am now as the CEO of Clarion Connect, we acquired a couple businesses in the hosted buyer one-to-one space. So with Clarion, we have what was Left Field as part of Clarion now, and we have a full portfolio of pop culture shows. And then I also have a whole portfolio of hosted buyer businesses. So we're probably the largest in the world of hosted buyer businesses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Yeah. And those hosted buyers, they're a different beast because like my opinion of it is that the bar is high with the curated experience. Like you need to put a high level buyer and seller together to really do business.
Yes. And you're also like you use that word curating experience. You're curating that experience for them to make that connection through and that memory and like that shared bond. Yeah. So like, it's not just a meeting that happens. Yeah. They go through a whole experience of, I can make it very dramatic, of emotions together, right? But they're shared meals, they're shared actual trips to places that are part of that whole experience. So beyond the product valuation, when they look at making their purchases, the trust is established in those events that you really don't get from clicking on a website, a quick phone call, a quick Zoom. There's that deep trust relationship. And especially when you're looking at like these large scale investments that our buyers are making to make massive change in their business, they've got to really trust their partner's going to come through.
Yeah, very true.
So,
because it's not about like, getting a volume of people on a show floor in that situation. Yeah. It's really getting the right people together.
It's the right people at the right time. And, even when you look at trends across like trade shows, that's what you hear, right? Yeah. It's not about, how full was that show floor? It's like, who was there? Were they the right people in the room?
Yeah, you're definitely seeing that shift now. The exhibitors are being more educated. It's not about volume of attendees anymore. It's about like the quality of the traffic. And then the other side of it is having the ability to teach the exhibitors how to sell on a show floor. That's a whole nother thing. That's the next gen of like getting, it's not something new. We've been working on that for years, but it's continuous education on how to engage, how to, be the most effective exhibitor,
Yeah. I think that is such a continuing, ongoing conversation. The 20 plus years I've been doing this, that has always been the forefront of like, how do we educate our exhibitors to do more? Because we find no matter what, whether it's an exhibitor or a sponsor, the more knowledge they have coming into it and the more prepared we can help them be, the higher their success ratios are.
Yeah. And that's it. Right? There was another organizer I was talking to that said that typically companies don't even send their best salespeople to trade shows because they're already selling to big customers, and they so their response to their leads is very, very low, and it's like shocking because here we are building these marketplaces that have all the products and all the buyers in all the same room, and it's like you have multi buyers there and you're not doing your work.
Exactly. And then, it is mind-blowing today when you still walk a trade show floor and you see that exhibitor who's sitting back, the phone in one hand, a snack in the other. People are just walking by.
Right. Exactly.
It's
just money going by.
Yeah, just walking right by. Come on. And you're like, that one's going to tell us they didn't have a good show.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Yeah. We are giving you that platform and we are bringing everything right to your doorstep. Yeah. Open the door. Yeah. So it's our responsibility to help them get there. Yeah.
So another thing I like to touch on is, being a leader of an organization, which you are, leadership isn't on accident. You've gone through and you've had great mentors throughout your time, so tell me about some of those people that help pull you up along the way and bring you up and put trust in you.
Yeah. So if I start back into the beginning of my career, working both for Greg Topalian and Nan Walsh. Yeah. Because Greg reported into Nan and she believed in the Launchpad group at that time. And at that point in time, the strong female leaders in our business were far and few in between, right? Yeah. And she was always just smart, knew the business, knows her customers, but was just so empathetic at the same time and balanced all of those traits. So she's always been just somebody I've looked up to, mentored, and followed her career of if I could be her, I'd be really, really excited by that. Yeah. And then when you look at Greg, he has something really special in the way he works with customers and listens to a market and leads teams. So being able to follow him and be mentored by him. And even now in my organization, working with Lisa Hanna as our global CEO, another incredible female who she knows this business so well, and watching her career grow as she's evolved into becoming the global CEO of Clarion and the different challenges that from being with M&A and the ownership and the PE side and balancing all of those different things. I've been really blessed. Yeah. Really blessed. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So for 2026, where we're going to round out the year soon, before we know it, and into 2027, what are some of the things that really have you excited get out of Edna Morning, and what are you really looking forward to?
Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things happening in our business. There's a lot of transformation happening in my business in particular right now. But truly, one of the things that I'm the most excited about is a side project that I'm working on with SISO. Yeah. So Greg and I are working with Vinny Polito at SISO, and we're soon going to be expanding this to other people in the business. And it's a recruiting aspect for the business of working with up and coming potential new leaders and new graduating students and helping them enter our business and understand what our business is. So if we go back to the beginning of this, that origin story, we didn't know that professional trade shows and professional events and exhibits existed. So we're working with a couple colleges and universities to establish a really good feeder program for internships, new job opportunities and markets. And I love that. It's really exciting for me now and energizing again.
That is, and we spoke a little bit earlier, and that I do the same thing in South Florida, and definitely you have my support and commitment to everything that I've been doing. We can bring it into one big funnel for sure.
I would love that. And I love that it's not what we're looking at doing is not it's not just for Clarion, it's for the whole event industry, and because that only helps all of us.
If we could get somebody to understand what we do, and we can bring them in, and then they become working for a venue that then supports us,
absolutely,
or one of the an AV company, or even an electrician, the electrical service, all these services that all go hand in hand. The better talent that we could put in those positions is more success for all of us.
Absolutely, or even if they end up at one of our sponsors or exhibitor companies, right? And they
become a customer.
They'll no longer be the person sitting there eating the snack, looking at their phone. They're going to really understand the value of what we're providing. So it's a full cycle flywheel. That's something I'm really excited to be part of right now.
Well, thank you so much for doing this, and I hope you have a great rest of your conference.
Thanks, Rich.
Bye.